How much does insurance pay for a house fire?
That's going to be determined with the initial inspection and development of a full estimate in conjunction with the insurance carrier's adjuster. Paul Davis Restoration would collaborate with that adjuster to make sure the full scope of work is defined and the full budget is defined along the way. And it depends on how severe that fire is on determining the total cost. But it's a collaboration effort between Paul Davis, the customer, and the insurance carrier.
How much does fire damage restoration cost?
That's a tricky one to answer because it's just dependent on the extent of the fire damage. So a company like ours would come in and assess the amount of damage, put together pricing packages for all phases of the work, the structure, the contents, cleaning and replacement, whatever it takes to put back together and determine that pricing with the insurance company up front before the work occurs.
Will insurance pay for fire damage?
Well, insurance pay for fire damage is the tough question because we don't make the coverage decisions. That is made by the insurance carriers. However, most insurance policies do cover fire damage and they do their investigation. They determine the cause of the fire, and in alignment with the policy, they determine the coverage of the fire damage.
How do I claim damage due to fire?
The first call you want to make is to your insurance company. Make them aware of what's going on and then get somebody like us involved that can come out and take a look at the damages, make an assessment of the cost, even if it's a ballpark estimate at that point. Make an assessment of those costs to determine the overall damage, the extent of the damage, and the price to put all that back together. And then a company like ours would work with your insurance company to figure out what is covered, what won't be covered, and the cost to put all that back together.
How do you calculate fire damage cost?
We utilize some software called Xactimate. It's based on some unit pricing and it's very extensive, very detailed. Our estimating team goes through, looks at the overall scope of work, determines the overall price to repair, to replace, to clean anything that might have been damaged in that fire. That could include foundations, mechanical, electrical, plumbing, structure, trusses, roofing. They'll look over the entire project top to bottom and develop this pricing through the Xactimate pricing platform that is then shared with the insurance company to identify the full scope of work and then finally determine the total policy payout.
How does insurance work for fire damage?
How does insurance work for fire damage? So it starts with getting a claim filed with your insurance company, and then an adjuster would be assigned. That adjuster would work with a company like ours to come out to the site and develop a scope of work. Over time, that scope of work is turned into an estimate and a budget that gets approved by the carrier and paid out to the policyholder. At that time, the construction company like ours would begin the repair process, putting together the construction documents, permitting with the city if needed, and then finally bringing in the crews, the subcontractors to do the work and get the project rebuilt.
How does someone negotiate a fire insurance claim?
That is a long process that takes some expertise, and you want to make sure to have someone who's familiar with that process. There's a very specialized pricing database called Xactimate that is often used to settle insurance claims. There's going to be an adjuster involved that's going to look at the scope of work and fine tune and develop that insurance claim and budget. A contractor like Paul Davis Restoration, who's got a lot of experience in these kinds of things, can step in and be that representative and liaison to help customers negotiate through that claim settlement to ensure that the insurance companies pay the right amount. Most insurance companies understand that they owe for like, kind, and quality, meaning they owe to replace what was there before, and usually they're very good at it. We just want to make sure they capture everything through that initial phase, and then as the construction progresses, make sure anything is picked up that might have been missed along the way.